are recording on YouTube right now. Cool. Live YouTube broadcast right now. I've got comedy artwork, Brian of comedy artwork.
Yes.
Brian is a friend of mine. He lives in the area and he's got this incredible story to tell about, I guess, plugging into the stand-up community and even beyond that, the movie comedy community, what a talented broadcaster would refer to that as. But you've gotten this amazing access to this world that you've always loved by doing artwork for comedians and directors like Judd Apatow, and it's great. And we're going to interview him shortly. But that was my YouTube intro. Now it's just going to get awkward and silent for a minute because I have to then tweet this link out. This is where it gets ugly and embarrassing, Brian. All right, I think I have the Twitter ready to go. And we go Twitter. Where is Twitter? Oh, I flipped away. Oh, okay, so we click to Twitter and we hit tweet. Cool. That's going to take 45 minutes to go out because I'm running this from a Pentium 90. But once we're done there, we're all good. All right, cool. We can just silence this and use our intro music, and that's it. You ready to go, Brian? Are you pumped? Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Do it.
We can swear. By the way, if you want this airing locally, we don't swear. If you want it to sound human, we do swear. You take the lead on this tango. If you walk in and you drop the C-bomb.
I don't forcibly cuss, so I'm good.
Okay.
I can keep it purely.
All right, we'll launch now. So this is what I've been blasting the past week, Brian.
Nice.
To get pumped up. I think the lyrics really are, they speak to me. As a 20-something girl who's thinking about moving to Brooklyn, making a push for it.
Yeah, I'm trying to even place who it is, to be honest.
Oh, I'm sorry. You don't recognize the unforgettable voice of Haley of Paramore?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes.
No, this is...
Yes, of course. Yes, of course, Paramore, yeah.
I mean, it's got nothing on the Dead Boys' Ain't It Fun, which is the most nihilistic song you'll ever hear. But if you're in the market for literally the opposite, ain't it good being all alone? I mean, being a big fish and then going to a bigger pond where you become a small fish. A lot of things that would cause anxiety. And yet she boldly proclaims, ain't it fun, Brian?
Well, visually, I see them as like, they look sort of punky, right? But this sounds like
she does the hair dye thing.
Ariana Grande or something, you know?
Yeah, I'll give you, they really do that punky look. I mean, if that's always been a thing in punk for my money. I mean, like, even Billy Idol compared to actual punk music was kind of just dressing punk.
Yeah, I didn't know he was punk. He had that history at least.
Yeah, William Idol had that first band. I think it was Generation X was his very first thing, and even that wasn't particularly punky. And to be honest, a lot of punk sounds poppy, but yeah, Billy was big on just having that look.
Yeah,
looking like an extra in the bar scene from Terminator 1. Tech Noir. I didn't want to mention the bar name to really give my nerd bona fides, but there you go. I just put it on the table. I just length and girth.
I wouldn't have known it. Yeah.
So they're complete pop at this point. At least this one. I mean, it's literally based on a keyboard loop. I think. Goddamn, if I don't love that one, Brian.
Yeah.
Oh, I've been ever since I got that Apple Music.
Oh boy. I mean, how old's that song?
That is 5 years old. That is 5 years old. And I just discovered it last week.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I mean, you and I are at that age where it all blurs together. Like, you can hear a damn Sublime song from '94, and it might as well have been released like 2 weeks ago, because we're all just hurtling toward the grave with this logarithmic function. You know, you're going to blink, it'll be 2030. We're all underwater. Kevin Costner's got gills, and he apparently runs this stuff. Everyone is Papa's Basement. I am John Papa Giorgio. I'm joined today by a friend who I've seen a lot of comedy shows with, because that's his thing. We have Brian of comedy artwork over here.
Yep, I've made it my thing.
You've made it your thing. Well, it's our thing.
Yeah.
It's our thing until I blew it one time when we were supposed to see Bob Kelly several months ago.
Yeah, then I didn't call you for a while.
You did. Yeah, you snubbed me. And rightfully so. I thought I was going to have a date with a girl. I should have known better. And she went quiet that evening, so we didn't meet. And instead, Brian over here just chilled out with Bob Kelly because, as we'll get to it, Brian enjoys unique access in the world of comedians and gets to just hang out with them and talk to them and is friendly with them, and it's all good. I know I'm describing them like I was gonna say porn stars because that betrayed how highly I view porn
Oh,
stars,
okay.
but I shouldn't
Mhm.
say that. I should say, like true A-list celebs, which some of them
Well,
can be.
they're definitely big in the comedy scene
They're
for
huge in the
sure.
comedy scene. The people you're tight with and
Yeah,
work
and
with.
they're the people I like. That's probably more important.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Like,
mean,
yeah,
I'm with you. I don't kiss anyone's ass. Like to
yeah,
me, it's a very happy coincidence if like I can work with someone and they're nice.
yeah.
And I will, if someone's nice, I'll still hang with them, even if they can't do a damn thing for me. Like I have friends I just watch football with and eat pizza and get diabetes with.
Yes,
But
absolutely. I get that. Yeah.
yeah, I've been in work situations where if someone's an ass, I'm like you, especially you're freelancing. So why the hell
Yeah.
stick around for it?
Mhm.
So yeah, we'll get in a bit to really what you've done with this career of yours the past couple of years. But first, we talked Paramore, some really important stuff right there.
Yep.
And now we have to talk 90 Day Fiance, which I've spread over countless episodes. And guess what? We could do 90 minutes a day. We could do 90 minutes a day on 90 Day Fiance. Man, that was harder to get out than I thought it'd be. And I did it. Uh, you got hooked like me via Opie and Anthony years ago, right?
Yes, definitely.
When I think Sam Roberts of the show came in and just started
Yeah,
talking
I may
over and
have
over.
seen it a little bit, but it was definitely them talking about it and then me going back into watching it and just realizing how great it is. But you
Yeah,
know what? So the whole early seasons are on, I think, Hulu now.
everything
And we try to go
except
back and
current
watch
seasons,
them.
I
I
think.
try to go back and watch them,
Yeah.
and they just don't compare. They're not as trashy. They're actually just really mild.
So the people early on actually belonged with each other.
Some did.
I'll explain really
Yes.
quickly. The concept of the show is that you can get what's called a K1 slash fiance visa for a foreigner to then visit the country for 90 days if you get it's actually married, correct? Not just engaged.
I think so, yeah, yeah.
If you
That
get
sounds right.
married in that 90-day span, they can then begin the process to a green card and I guess later citizenship. But if it goes tits up, to use a legal term, they get shipped back to their country that they're more than likely trying to escape. So it adds a really disgusting element to almost all of the relationships where you're wondering how much of this is that they care for the, very unattractive American that
Yes.
they claim they love, and how much is it this green card situation? I'm with you that early on, several of the couples, especially who's it, Paula, the
Yeah.
model, and her kind of eunuchy husband. He's at least a good looking dude, but
Yeah, I think through Opie and Anthony influenced me that, "Oh, he's gay."
yeah, that
And I
that
was like, "I can kinda see that, but he's kind of a manly guy, does things, but he's very well, very it's very
I'm trying to
nice."
remember
Yeah.
his name. I
Oh,
wouldn't say
Russ.
Russ. Yeah, I wouldn't say
Russ.
Russ is gay, but Russ is very just he doesn't belong with this fiery Latina, barely wearing anything, has a career as a model now where
Yeah.
she's, posing topless. And in a later show, because we don't just have 90 Day Fiance now, we've got uh before the
Which
90
I'm not sure what that
days
even means, but I'll take it.
yeah,
It's fine. I
it's
mean,
supposed to be the Americans are now going abroad
yeah.
to meet the people before they bring them over. And you've got Happily Ever After, where we see some of the couples. It's all great. It's all trashy. I think we've come to realize maybe the final evolution, like the pinnacle of everything, the apex predator of this show is a dunce from the latest season of Before the 90 Days named Ricky. Um, Ricky is this
Hello, Ricky.
yeah, hello Ricky. Yeah, it sounds exactly like Christina Ricci, or I talk about rekeying locks because I'm a locksmith. So I hear Ricky all the time. I'm like, ugh, it perks my ears on a weird subconscious level. Ricky is a chubby Latino dude from Columbus, Ohio, who has been trolling Colombian Cupid
Mhm.
and finds a woman that he then, my brother explained, really hadn't made a plan to visit. correct? Just kind of told at the last second, like, "Hey, I'm going down to Colombia. We should do something."
I don't know. I mean, she looks like a college student
And
or
giant fake breasts,
prostitute. I don't
braces.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah, braces.
she's really in, if you will, like a human chrysalis. You know, it's like
And
the
he
braces, the implants, the hair is all coming together in like another year.
and he would see, the selfies she'd take, and that's mother material because he has a kid.
He has two kids.
Is it
He
two?
has
Oh, is
two
it a
kids
baby?
and two ex-wives.
Oh my gosh. I
Yeah,
know the girl because the girl is very smart and
yeah, he
trying to
has
talk sense into
one
him.
that is a couple years old. That was an amazing moment we should get to, where Ricky's daughter has to explain to him that after his most recent divorce, because he gets divorced mere months prior to all of this, Ricky then decides, you know what I need after this divorce to handle my two children by two different moms? I need wife number three, and she needs to be foreign. So,
Did you catch up to the very end?
yeah,
Not to spoil it. Okay. Okay.
I did.
Okay.
I did.
We'll
So
get to that. Yeah.
Ricky's daughter is like, look, I think you need to work on healing both your mind and body before you get back on the market. Like, she's profoundly, either the producers fed her lines from
She was
Dr.
great.
Phil,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
that chick is the most empathetic little creature that's ever existed.
Yeah.
Like, so Ricky goes down to Colombia. The implants Mick Silverteeth stands him up after one date. And Ricky just discloses, well, you know what? I've been hollering at other women on this Columbia Cupid thing. Like, mentions only one by name.
Zemina. What's her name?
Oh God.
That's the second girl's name. It's like Zemina or something.
Jimena.
Jimena. There you go.
There
This
you
is
go.
the X. Yeah.
Yes, Jimena. Yeah, it's like Christmas. So Jimena is this other woman who, like, clearly doesn't have implants and doesn't have like the bleached hair.
Yeah,
So
I liked her.
she's not quite the wife material that option number one is. Like,
Yeah.
had only her jug's been bigger. But he then just pulls an audible and tries to get this girl, but has to disclose everything in his past to this girl, like, painfully so, over and over. Just mentions that he came there originally for another girl, adds that he loved this other girl, but now that's all done. And it's amazing to see Jimena juggle her desire with getting the hell out of Colombia with having to be married to Ricky. I mean, it might be the best thing that they've produced. Like, Ricky then has to do you want to take it from there?
I'm just saying, the thing about them, they aren't those couples. Okay, there's two kinds of couples you see on the show. You see the couple, you go, oh, okay, that makes sense. They met on vacation and they're equally attractive.
Oh, those are the innocent couple.
And then there's the ones that are like, that's obvious. She's just, the girl's just there for the visa or whatever.
Yes.
But this one with Ricky, it's not like a slam dunk either way. Like, he's fine. He's not a total troll or anything.
No, I mean,
but he's not, but they aren't like a perfect match. He definitely seems a little desperate.
He
straddles between the two kinds of couples you have on there, I think.
Brian could dress up like a girl, like Bugs Bunny style, and like Ricky would try to marry you. That's how I feel about Ricky. Like, he would marry any and everything. Like, that is his solution to everything in life. Like, as a child, as he failed out of high school, I'm sure he tried to marry the teacher. He then tried to marry the spelling test. Like, he just throws around the words love and marriage and all this. Do you want to let everyone know how it's panned out for Ricky as of the wrap-up episode?
Oh, the wrap-up episode. Yeah. So he is not with either of those girls now. He is now back with the ex-wife, if I remember correctly.
Yes, the second ex-wife.
Yeah.
Who I believe paid something like 30 G's so he could keep the kid from the first marriage, because the first wife was a bit of a hellcat, attempting to take the kid away.
Yeah, he was keeping all that secret, basically.
Yeah, and it got disclosed at the end, and we are now at a place where Ricky is back with the second wife. Jimena claims that she, quote, threw away the engagement ring, right into the hands of a pawn shop owner. Get over it. And she hates him. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen a meltdown between two participants on that show quite to that degree, where they hate the other person.
Yeah.
And both of them were on live TV together. Like, there's the Haitian girl from season 1.
Oh god,
who was getting pursued by the older white dude.
That was some good stuff.
And she legit was like, disclose like, oh yeah, he was like a mental case. I'm now with another old white guy. Like that's just her MO.
Yes.
They're getting slightly less old each time. Like the first one looked like, honest to God, they found Gary Shandling's
Yes, Gary
like
Shandling,
old
exactly.
brother or something like that.
Exactly. Yes.
He was so Gary Shandling-esque, it was creepy. Except it was like if Gary Shandling like got over all his neuroses and was just spending his twilight bashing young Asian moms.
Yes, yeah.
It was incredible. So she goes from Gary Shandling, who is like legit mid-60s, I think. She's 20, by the way. Yeah. Then the next dude was in his 40s, mid-40s, and now the next guy's in his mid-30s. That could be a successful age gap. I mean, that's not obscene. I'm a man.
Still
so
creepy.
Yeah.
Creepy overall.
Yeah, I'll own that. I'll own that.
Yeah, that was probably the creepiest couple. So yeah, I saw the season 2 and then realized there was a season 1 and then got caught up. But
I've been going nuts with it. I made my way because after I think season 2 of the original show, I kind of lost my way. I came back. I've watched everything possible now. And you disclosed that there's now a new 90-day full-on season.
90s Day, it was, gosh, it's so fresh. It just one episode in.
Like, sell me. What are the couples? What am I
trying? Okay. Hottest blonde American, and I want to say
like a gorgeous American girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a Jamaican guy, I believe.
Okay.
And
interesting.
I believe he's younger. He's obviously a player, to use a better term that doesn't sound lame.
I think that becomes the economy in Jamaica. If you're attractive, like just banging hot Americans. I mean, what a hellish way to make a living.
But then there's the guy. He's not selling himself very well. He's sort of just very nerdy, and he's just I can't recall. It's very fresh. I'll have to give it a couple
episodes.
Who
or what is he importing?
I can't even remember.
This clearly made an indelible mark in your mind and in your
It's one episode in.
No, I get it.
I haven't got a feel for these guys.
We haven't even seen everyone, maybe. Like at this point, it's gotten like Game of Thrones, where like you watch season, episode 1 of a season, they can only introduce half the plot lines. Like that's how many are going. And so, it's episode 2 rolls around. You're like, time for more Sansa. And then it's like, oh, it's the Onion Knight all day. You're like, okay.
They all run together at this point.
Yeah, it's kind of blurry. You're like, is the mountain the lady in the armor? I don't know. I know what you mean, though. They can only do so many permutations on it. We've literally had like attractive women. We've had Jamaican guys. Although our previous Jamaican guy was putting it to a fairly...
Yes, the older lady, right? With the kids. With the son.
Like she worked out all the time, so her body was great, and yet she had 2 very wildly unattractive sisters, I will say, like just bulldogs of women, ugly within and without, so I can say that. And she had their face, like it was really terrifying. Like, again, because all of my references are just Bugs Bunny, it's like a Bugs Bunny cartoon where he is chasing some girl who's got the Middle Eastern veil on the entire time, and then it drops and she just has the horrific lower face. Like this girl would be a 10 in a strict Muslim country.
Yes.
Like as long as this part was covered up, she's a knockout. And then it comes off and you're like, what kind of Joker type scenario led to this combination? Because it's frustrating.
Yeah, see that couple, it wasn't like, oh wow, that's crazy. It was sort of, again, that was like a mix. Like it was sort of,
it was within bounds. She wasn't horrific. It isn't like
and he may have been younger, but it wasn't that crazy of a couple. Yeah.
Like who is it was Muhammad. I was gonna say who's the Middle Eastern dude. And I'm like, well,
that was crazy.
It can be Muhammad.
That's like the gold standard of 90.
Muhammad and Danielle.
Yes. That was where you're just screaming at the TV. And she's just like, oh, I don't know. Like, no, he's just doing this to get here.
Yeah, Danielle's in her mid 40s.
That's
incredibly
the biggest
obese.
Discrepancy between these couples was that couple.
Yeah, that she was the gold standard of how much is citizenship worth to these people.
Yes.
Because Danielle's in her mid 40s. I mean, just again, I don't feel bad saying this because personality wise, also disgusting.
Yeah.
She's broke. She's very unattractive. She has multiple kids by multiple dads, I believe. The kids are all... there's never a point where the kids, like a woman having kids, is good unless they're like past 18 and they're completely gone. And then you're like, okay, whatever, no harm, no foul. But like a baby would be annoying to take care of. Having a 12 to 15-year-old, they're going to sass you, to use the term of our time.
Mhm.
It's not great. She had, I think, like 3-ish kids that were all in a really lippy range of like 12 to
Yeah, but they
16.
seem, again, better headed on
Yeah.
their shoulders than the actual mother
No,
of seeing
she
things
she had
properly.
clear emotional issues
Yeah.
where she would just lash out, she would cry, apparently, would beg Muhammad for sex. If you've
Yeah.
watched any of the post-mortem shows involving Danielle, those are the best of the bunch. And you know what has added a incredible layer to that relationship? I don't know if you've logged enough time with him to realize this. Muhammad is nothing but Muslim Jay Whitaker. I should say Pete maybe. Like once I put that together, it's added an entire layer of enjoyment where his behaviors are exactly like that of my former co-host.
Yeah,
And
okay.
just incredibly amusing. He is a lot of times they make sure that the awful is paired with the awful. So
Yes,
you
yeah.
can there's no clear rooting interest. You don't feel bad for anything you feel.
Yeah.
There's no one innocent
Mhm.
here. I love it. It's such a brilliant concept.
Yeah.
There are it's like Breaking Bad. There are no clean hands. You know, it's just everyone deserves everything coming their way and you
Breaking
can just
Bad of
chill.
reality TV,
It
yeah.
really is. Yeah.
Yeah, and even the stuff you see that's kind of set up and
It's all edited
it
and
does, yeah, I mean,
BS.
it's like it doesn't matter. They're not there's it's not changing what they're doing or how they're acting for the
It's an
most part.
illusion.
Yeah.
Quote our favorite Jesse.
Now to jump back, remember Tariq and then the lady from the Philippines?
Yeah, Tariq, who looks
So
like
and the brother came over with him.
Yes.
I like that. So it's the night before, and he's basically just giving her crap. He's like, "Hey, man, we're not gonna do that." And then next day, lunch with my brother. So they can do it
Yes.
again. Like, nah, man, we ain't gonna do that. All right, we're gonna see you tomorrow, right? All right, let's do this again tomorrow.
Yeah.
It was like that was
There's a
just like
fight. So Tariq is a dude, early 40s, looks really like a light-skinned Mario brother.
757.
Yeah, 757, exactly.
That's all I was yelling. He's from Virginia Beach.
Yeah, he's a VA Beach / Norfolk area. And he's which is like a very naval area. So he's
Yeah.
probably ex-Navy, current Navy, some crap like that.
He's a fan of checkered patterns, matching
Yeah.
hats, checkered hats and checkered shirts. And then at one point he had a tank top with like a see-through shirt mesh on top of it.
Oh, like a Right Said Fred.
Yes, totally. And then he had on, ironically, he had on like a pastor's outfit, but he hated their church.
Yes, he is.
Well, so he's my favorite stylish guy of the
he was interesting because it's weird to see a black dude who's like fervently anti-religion. Like they tend to skew a little more religious than the everyone, like a representative, like every bit of the population if you interviewed them. And he's like really, I guess, like some sort of atheist or agnostic. And his he is into a girl from, was it Philippines?
I want to say Philippines.
Yeah. And she legit has parents that are holy rollers / snake handlers. We're talking 6 hours of church on Sunday with wailing, gnashing of teeth. It was incredible to watch. And he's making all the faces you could expect of someone who believes in none of this stuff, who's surrounded by it. I have done that a couple times, nothing to that degree. But when I was a kid, one of my friends from a Latin class would give me, he was a Hare Krishna at the time. I guess he was raised in it, and would give me all of these little Hare Krishna vegan granola bars. And even back then I was just like, free food, let's do it. Sure. So after like 20 granola bars, he was like, hey man, you want to come to the church? There's like more free food there. I was like, let's do this. Like maybe I'll find myself. I did not. And we repeated that experiment a decade later with a Jehovah's Witness friend who took me there.
Yeah.
I've realized I don't really do the religion thing. Like I'm very comfortable with just we're gonna die and we're gonna rot. Like I don't like it. It's like the same way I'm comfortable with the fact like I am fat and under 5'10". You know, it is what it is. Like I can wish in one hand and crap in the other. I've just made my peace. I don't know where you fall on that, but it was really great to see a dude put into that scenario where the church weirdness factor is just taken to 11.
Yeah, I think my favorite Tariq was that brother. And like, why is he here? This is obviously just set up. It's like, You,
Set up. It's all set up.
I like when
It's
they do
all
the
set
you
up.
have to meet this person. Like, no, you don't have to meet that person over there. But
You're on
I mean, the
vacation.
producers were like, it'd be good if you guys, you know, if you met the
The
family, you know,
producers set up
it's
everything for
crazy.
conflict, and they should, because that's what sells. Because
Exactly.
no one gives a crap if these people just go parasailing.
Do you remember season 1? I want to say Philippines again. I don't know. I could be wrong. But the guy that wouldn't eat the pig.
Oh yeah,
That was
absolutely.
great. I love that one.
There was
The pig looked pretty good, actually. You know, I was like,
well,
that looks pretty tasty. I'd eat it.
I think where I lost my mind. So this was a bald-headed McDonald's manager
yeah.
who tanked his 401k to go overseas. He might have been Vietnam. That might have been Vietnam. They're very pig-eating
Really?
people.
Has there been a
I don't know.
Vietnam one?
I don't know.
I don't think there's.
I
Been
know
anyone
the
in Vietnam.
Vietnamese love pork, man. That pork is.
Yeah, we're just gonna
everything.
say Philippines.
Yeah, well, just Philippines, exactly. Well, really,
no,
the
it's pretty
Philippines is
clear. I
all
mean,
Asia.
it's pretty clearly it's been Brazil, Philippines.
Remember, like when we fought the Axis power or the Philippines in World War II, and then right afterwards we had the Filipino War. That was intense. So he goes overseas, and the family that he's like the girl that he's visiting,
Very poor.
and
village,
so
what you'd expect.
they cash their 401k in essence to pay for a pig to kill the pig and then eat that along with some noodles. And he's freaking out, not because he's vegetarian. Like, it's one thing if he's like Jewish or some crap. He's like, look, I don't do pig.
He's like, I need my pig to have fake bones in it and have 2 buns on top of it.
Exactly.
And to come once a year.
But he's just such a, yeah. I just learned when that comes, by the way. The McRib is when pork bellies are cheap in the commodities market.
Is it summer? Early summer?
No, just whenever pork bellies take a dive, McDonald's like, cool, we're going to buy pork bellies, put the little rib stamps on them, and sell them to you idiots.
I've had one in the past few years.
I've never had one that didn't contain gristle.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I always wanted to love the McRib as a kid, and it never worked. I was always just pulling out, like, some mobster's finger or something like that. I was like, the hell with this after the third one. Like, I couldn't believe it went 3 for 3. So he's freaking out that they're giving him shredded off the pig pork.
Good.
There was nothing. Yeah,
I've been to a luau and had the roast pig.
They didn't. Yeah,
it looked kind of dry.
But it wasn't like they're handing him the head like the video from Closer or Lord of the Flies or whatever. It's just they take some pork off the side, and this infant couldn't handle that. Like, I have no respect for people that eat meat and then cannot handle just seeing the corpse of the animal that they're pulling, because that's what it is. You're just eating delicious corpse.
I mean, I get cool. A little off-putting at first, see the head, but you know, get over that.
Yeah, dude, it ain't getting deader. Even me in that scenario, and I don't really order meat for the most part. But like, if you've just got this giant pig and it's like, look, half's gonna go in the trash if you don't. No harm, no foul, man. Just eat some. And this guy was freaking out, and of course the family was like grossly offended. Like, he was doing he
didn't get it. He was just oblivious. That was the thing.
It was just so dumb. Every American on this show is so stupid.
And it's funny that people that want to go overseas are the people that had no interest in ever even like looking into like what it's like overseas or other cultures. And it's like these are the people that are going over there and like trying to find
after the marriage or after they've gotten really deep in it, start to realize like, oh, it's like a hassle going out with someone from another country. Dude, I dated a bitch in Rockville for 3 years. That was a pain. Have you ever been on 495? Like, and he's acting like going to Vietnam. I'm sorry, the Philippines, all of Asia. He's acting like that should be no thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, this show highlights you really shouldn't be having these relationships, period.
Yeah.
If you've hit a place in your life where you're having to look at people overseas, go to the gym instead. Go to the gym, go to a shrink, work your stuff out. Because all that happens is you hide all of your BS behind the language barrier and the distance. So you can project everything. It's not just enough that they're not there. So you can project everything you want onto a FaceTime screen. The language is a barrier. So you can even fill in like when they're mumbling and say like, yes, hi. You're like, oh, she means she loves me forever. Like, that's how these guys work. It's so screwed up. Just fix yourself before you get out there. Do not. Now, conversely, I think if you do have your crap together, you can do some real bargain shopping. Like, get a real like Columbia knockout or some crap. Yeah. That I will say the show has given a bit of a, I haven't looked into it, but there have been some dudes who have batted considerably above what they should be. Yeah, punched above their weight.
Yeah.
I mean, haven't you thought, I know you're happily married and all, but haven't you thought like, hey, in a parallel universe where I didn't meet Mrs. Artwork, like I would see this show and be like, damn, I, a man who have a career and am not a needy psychopath, could get like a really hot French girl or
I
something like
just
that.
always look at these guys, and it's not always the case based on the show and just in general, but I always look at it as, okay, this guy just wants like a yes lady, like someone that's just gonna like do whatever. But it's always the opposite. It's never easier, you know. But
Yeah.
that's how I stereotypically would look even before the show. You think, oh, okay, there's that wife and she can, barely
Well,
speak English. It's like I think you just want like the easy way
they
out,
build it up, I
or
believe. You can project what you want onto this scenario. You go in with so many preconceived notions, and shocker, women kind of the same the world over. Same with men. Like I
Mhm.
love girls who are like, "Oh, these men from Jamaica, so loyal and family oriented." And you're like, "What the f are you talking about?" And, like, and just everyone's crap is the same the world over. Like there's
Yeah,
no I'm trying to remember. Oh, there was one girl who was really into a Spanish model. It was almost like the Paula situation in reverse, where
yeah.
she's like finding photos of him like
Yes, yeah,
in the
yeah, yeah.
nude,
That was a pretty entertaining
and she's coming over.
relationship
Yeah, and
too.
she's
Yeah,
not unattractive, but she's not wickedly attractive
yeah.
either. And she's coming in and like giving the Spanish dude who's just like getting more ass than a toilet seat. You know what I mean? Like he's attractive and in a
Chill
culture
out,
where they
chill
don't.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's got a
Why are you
really
so
high pitched voice.
stressed? Yeah.
Got a great impression over there, and trying
You
to
relax.
she's trying to bring this like puritanical American stuff over, and like, how could you pose for this? And he's like,
What?
it's my job. What do you?
I'm
What do
with
you?
you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible to see how she could go over there and really try to put her brand of everything, her spin onto it, and be like, why isn't this successful 10, kind of falling under my heel? But she went over there to begin with. Why? Because Spanish men are so respectful and family oriented. And I'm not saying they're not, but probably in the same ratio that American men are, give or
Yeah,
take a couple percentage points.
sure.
Like a model's a model. An Eskimo model is going to be banging it up in 3 igloos a night. Like that's just how it works. Chris Rock said you're as loyal as your options. And again,
Yeah.
that's pretty true. God, I'm gonna have to go home and buy that on iTunes now.
Yeah, yeah. I'll
It's
have to rewatch that first episode of the new
they're
one.
getting me, and it's so annoying because every other like all the older seasons are on Hulu, but yeah, you want to be caught up. Like,
And that's the thing. I don't watch any trash TV.
oh, this is my only
This
reality
is
show.
it, and I
Yeah,
love it. So it's not like it's something about this. I don't know why. I don't know why. It's just
I think
about this show specifically that I like so much. So
I
everything
think
else I could give or take. I don't care.
it came to us via Opie and Anthony. That's all I can think of, because otherwise I just don't give reality TV the time of day. Like recently they did some sort of craft show with Nick Offerman and
Yeah,
Leslie Knope,
yeah, that
Amy
rings a
Poehler.
bell, yeah.
And it got great reviews. And yeah, I get it. It's the two people from Parks and Rec, but like, what do I care to watch people make woodwork?
The only show I can kind of get into that's sort of in the same vein of reality is like the Kitchen Nightmare stuff.
What, like Gordon
Gordon
Ramsay just
Ramsay.
making people cry?
I enjoy that one.
I don't. Like,
So
he seems like a kind of a prick. He seems
yeah, but when
he
the
seems a little cross
when the
sometimes.
guy drops the chicken wing on the floor and puts it back in the fryer, I mean, that's
What's wrong with
just
that? That sanitizes
and right in front of
everything.
him. I mean, he wasn't thinking he wasn't being seen. He did it right in front of him. I mean, that
I
just
wouldn't bat an eye at that. Like, I'd maybe wash it off and throw it in, like a quick rinse.
And
But
did you ever watch Restaurant Undercover? Is that what it was called?
is that more Gordon Ramsay?
No, this was a show that is fake, but I watched it for a while, not realizing that was fake.
Is it like Restaurants on Stakeout?
It was like, this worker stealing money, or we're losing our food for some reason. We're not sure why. They set up cameras, but it is totally
just one
fake.
giant fat
It's like the
employee.
Repo show.
Okay.
But it's totally fake. But I didn't know it was fake for a while until this one episode came up. I said that was just so ridiculous that this can't be real.
And it's like guest star Jessica Simpson,
and it's
stealing the Hush
just like
Puppies.
reenactments essentially, or there's sort of wink, wink, nod, nod kind of stuff.
I haven't seen
Um,
that one. No,
it's
Restaurant
very
Undercover. So
cheesy.
they
Yeah.
just they try to they get like what
Okay.
some
They say, there's a
detectives.
host guy and he's like, "Hey, we're going to Joe's Crab Shack or whatever."
Uh-huh.
The manager there says that they're losing money for some reason. They're not sure why. They're doing great, and so they set up cameras, and they eventually find out Billy Bob is stealing, from the register or selling crabs to the restaurant down the street or whatever.
Pulling a Jameis Winston.
And then they confront them, and then there's all this yelling and screaming, and it's just. I gave into it for a while and I liked it, enjoyed it, but then there was
I mean,
just
it
one episode that
sounds
was just so
over the top.
outlandish.
I mean, it sounds like any other piece of reality
Yeah.
crap. I don't
For some reason, restaurants and 90 Day Fiancés, that's what I can get into.
I'll keep that in mind if there's any sort of thing where people marry foreign restaurants. I'll give you fair warning to take a week
90 Day
off.
Fiancé buffet or something else.
90-day buffet. There you go. Brian, you want to talk about I kind of had you on. I don't know how we first got in touch.
I know how.
How did we first get in touch? It's via Twitter.
Via Twitter. I was probably just maybe within a year of doing the comedy artwork thing. I was still trying to get some followers.
So I wasn't going through my Stafford husband's website?
No.
Okay.
I was trying to get some followers on Twitter. So like, what can I do to kind of get people to retweet me or something? And this was before I was doing fine with
You had, if you viewed me as a way to get that done,
No.
you were really starting out.
Well, here was the connection. Yeah. So I said, "Oh, here's what I'll do. I'll say I'll design anything for anybody, just within 5 minutes. I'm gonna give you something. It's gonna be really horrible. It might be okay. It might be great. Who knows? But I'm gonna spend like 5 minutes on it."
Uh-huh.
So I did that, basically saying, "Hey, I'll design something for you in 5 minutes. Could be bad, could be great. I don't know." Othello.
Okay.
Hoffman.
Our mutual friend. Yes. 90-day
retweeted
fiancé
me.
Othman Bouchereb.
Yes. Retweeted me, and Pete got a hold of me and
Pete
said,
Muhammad.
"Yeah, do our Papa's Basement, cover here."
Okay.
So I looked some reference of you and Pete, and it's like, okay. I turned you immediately into a mulatto black man.
Yes.
But in my 5 minutes.
Thank you for lighting me up. Yeah.
And so that was it. So that's how the connection started. Sometime after that, me and Pete Facebook friended or something. I said I got tickets to see Bennington in DC. I got an extra ticket if anyone wants to go. He said, "Yeah, I'll go." And then eventually, as things got closer, he couldn't make it and said I should reach out to you.
Ah, okay.
And so the first time we met was just to go see Bennington.
Good old Ron Bennington.
DC.
Wait, so with the Ali Wong thing?
No.
Or no.
That was before that.
That was before.
I didn't know that. Yeah, we weren't. I didn't exist then, and I didn't know you then.
Yes.
That was you and Pete.
Oh, okay.
This was with Crazy Jen.
Oh yeah.
So just like 2 years ago, it was 2000.
Oh, son of a bitch. Okay,
yes,
I do.
Very recent.
I remember the vague outline of this now. Which is,
and the one guy Ian was there.
Goodbye, Ian.
Yes, I was waiting in the Sirius XM DC thing.
Okay.
You came in, and I guess I don't know. Maybe I've seen your picture, so
yeah,
recognized you. And then we were talking, and then this guy Ian, I guess
I met Ian that day,
over.
I believe.
Oh, really? But
yeah.
he knew. Was that okay? I thought you guys. I just assumed you guys were friends, but I guess we're talking about Stavros or something. I hear the word Stavros or something.
Yeah, we were. There's certain exactly keywords. Like we have certain dog whistle words, except instead of like horrible race hate, yeah, you're like, oh, Stavros. You're like, oh, come town.
Yeah, I do that. I do that. When I'm at a grocery store, I just yell out Stavros. See who comes running.
See, that's a better thing because I'll just scream "come town."
Yeah,
and then I get arrested. So cool. Your way is better.
That's what happened. Yeah.
So I've watched your career from afar the last couple of years and correct me as I go with this, but you started off simply doing promotional artwork for comedians, like for their events, like comedians you were fans of. Like I don't see you doing a lot of Mencia or Pablo Francisco. I love how those were the two names that
Yeah.
came to me, and now it just sounds like you hate Latinos.
I know, exactly, I know. But
Uh,
I like Luis J. Gomez, so there you go.
there.
I don't know if he counts, you know.
The Puerto Rican rattlesnake, he does.
I mean, he counts in my book, but maybe not in the
I
political realm.
That's true, yeah. He doesn't
He likes to do a lot of alt-right jokes.
celebrating them.
Like, you know, I mean, it is ironic that he's Puerto Rican, does Legion of Skanks with two Jewish guys, and they're yelling about, you know, white power, ironically, of course. But yeah.
Hey, man.
So yeah, I definitely
nothing wrong with ironic Nazism. I mean, that's the foundation.
I'm
of humor.
50% Nazi, so it's okay.
There you
Well, I don't know if it's okay. Actually, it's not okay. What am I saying? Yeah. But I can joke about being an. I don't know if I can.
Okay,
I don't know.
here.
Can I? Yeah, okay. I can joke about being a Nazi here. I mean, my dad, within the past week, I've seen him called. He had the German TV on, so there's the Nazi, you know, the Nazi channels.
Oh, your
on.
dad's like fresh off the boat German.
No, my dad's American. My mom is fresh off the boat German.
Really, Fraulein artwork. All right.
Yep.
So,
anyway, so yeah,
you pretty much found comedians that you're fans of, and you did a smart thing. Instead of like me just kind of like mentioning and trying to be funny, you know, like the millionth person in their life to try to make them laugh. They're like, whatever. You were like, hey, I do artwork. I like doing artwork. I want to help these people out. And you came at them with this incredible thing that other people in their life couldn't offer. You'd be like, here's a promo poster. Right?
Yeah, but I would say most of it did happen, you know, virtually online. The initial part of it, basically, you know, up until, you know, 5-6 years ago, you know, I was listening to talk radio.
Yes.
And
Oh, you weren't a stand-up guy before that. You weren't.
I mean,
I've
always been I've always been a fan, but the main guys that you know, back in the day, you know, in the days of, you know, when Gaffigan first kind of came around, and Regan, I knew those guys, of course.
But again,
knew of them.
Probably stand-ups.
But I would say like Opie and Anthony, Howard Stern, and my exposure to that comedy, where Opie and Anthony are bringing in the Comedy Cellar guys.
Yeah, through Jim Norton.
So that's really kind of like the comedy that I was into. But you know, it took form in stand-up because a lot of the stand-ups that I saw, I enjoyed their podcasts.
So you would, in looking for more talk radio, kind of then discover these guys,
sure,
and get into their comedy after the fact.
Yes, as I gave up all sports,
yeah,
I looked to replace that with more of, you know, the Howard Stern, Don and Mike, Opie and Anthony type of stuff. So, you know, I've always been heavily into podcasts past few years. And one of my favorite podcasts is called Tuesdays with Stories with Joe List and Mark Normand. And I happened to see Mark Normand was going to be in town. This is before Comedy Artwork or anything. And
so you had no last name at this point?
No,
like Cher.
I was nothing. I was just a blank slate. Just Brian. And it's like, oh, he's going to be at this place called the Big Hunt. I don't know what that is. So this is probably 2015 or.
I did not realize how recent you were to this whole world.
Oh yes,
this is
not even 3 years. It's not even 3 years. It's 2.5 maybe. I could really figure it out if I could think about it. No, it's fairly recent, I'd say. So I went to go see him, just do like 5 minutes before he did like his Arlington Draft House show. I just kind of popped in and watched him. I didn't even talk to him. Didn't even bother him. Because why would I bother him? I'm not the kind of guy that's going to bother anybody.
Is this Mr. List?
This is Normand. Mark
Normand. Okay.
And my voice is going because I'm not used to the switch talking.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah. You can, if you want to just communicate via pictograph.
Yeah, I'll draw something.
Yeah, I'll get you a whiteboard. Yours is the language of colors.
So I saw him. I just saw him. I didn't even talk to him or offer him anything or say I like you. I just said, oh, this place is really cool. You know, meaning the Big Hunt. Now, this is a cool place. It's kind of like, you know, what I would imagine the Comedy Cellar was like. I hadn't been to it at that point. So then I noticed.
I'll just describe the Big Hunt to people that haven't been there. It's a DC bar right across from the DC Improv, the kind of really dedicated comedy venue in the city, although there's now a couple of those. The upstairs, which is the regular, I guess you'd say the entry level, that's just a standard bar, and then you walk downstairs. And I would very much agree with what you say. It's a really claustrophobic, much more of a New York club kind of feel where you're all very packed in, and the stage is not some like 6 feet elevation type stuff. It's really like just a neck breaker, 6 inches type. Am I wrong there? Is it actually like 1 foot up? Or it's not
It's
very
nothing.
elevated, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because they can't have you that high up because there's no like grade to the seats.
Well,
It's just
there's the vent right there.
yes, that's true too.
So if you're over 6 foot, you're gonna have some
You
issues.
would be
Yeah,
decapitated
yeah.
like a villain at the end of several
But I thought it
80s
was
action
yeah,
films.
I mean, I thought it was like, "Oh, this is a really cool place to see comedy," and this is yeah. So it was kind of a combination of that. I was like, "Oh, this is a cool place to see comedy," and then within a few months of that, Joe List was gonna do a show there. Like, "Okay, cool, that cool place I went to, uh, and one of my favorite podcast guys is gonna be there." So I made him a poster just on my own.
Like, but I should specify a professional looking poster, like not like me doing it where it's just two stick figures where the hands are like a circle with 5 lines coming out of it and we're
I was
holding
fine. I
hands.
mean, I didn't spend a lot of time on it, to be honest. I just kinda did it really quickly, and this was before I was officially under the comedy artwork
Okay.
tag. I just kinda did it. He retweeted it, and I immediately got, like, 2 or 3, "Hey, can you do me one?" So I said, "Oh, okay. I can,
So
like."
who
I
wanted them immediately?
I mean, only people that are into comedy would know,
But that's all like that had to be great for you.
and
Like
I mean, Andy Fiora from, or Fiore, sorry, I may be screwing that up. But he's, I guess he was on the Bonfire with Soder and then so he wouldn't have won immediately, and then a couple other guys. No one, no big names or anything.
you hear that,
Um,
Andy? You ain't crap. Not
I'm
according
sure
to
he'd admit he's not a
Brian.
big name, but I think he's great. Um, and so I was like, "Oh, okay. There's obviously a need for this, you know, so I could like, turn this into something." And
That's just such an incredible reaction as a guy who's put out countless things that have never gained an ounce of any
mhm.
recognition. Like, let me just say that you gave one person a poster, he retweets it, and immediately other
I mean, I'm
people
very
in his
loyal to Joe
field.
List because of that. I
Yeah.
feel like he kind of kickstarted things for me, just for me, just from a retweet.
No, that's
I was like, "Oh,
amazing.
okay."
Yeah, and immediately you've got people asking for it. Like that's such like a thunderbolt moment, man. That's got to be great.
Yeah, and so
What does it feel like?
I don't know. I mean, it kind of went all according to plan. I was like,
Yes.
"Okay, well, what am I gonna call it? Let's just make it really simple, stupid. How many artwork?"
Okay.
So when I follow someone, it doesn't say, I'm gonna use Billy Bob as another example. Billy Bob Design Studio and Illustration. They don't care about that. They don't know what that is.
Mhm.
They see comedy artwork, they might think, "Oh, what is that?"
I'll let him know it's comedy
Yeah,
artwork.
it's comedy artwork. "Oh, okay, I'm gonna follow that." Yeah, yeah. That sounds like something I'd be interested in seeing, not just some random guy's design profile.
It's smart, dude.
So
You
it's stupid, and I felt kinda dumb even calling it that.
is it though? Because it's kind of brilliant.
Because I even had in my bio at one point, some sort of phrase, comedy phrase, of course.
It's like
A little
making
too on the nose or something. That was like my bio, like a little too on the nose.
oh man, that's good. I mean,
But I kinda got rid of that, and I have some other stupid
it's not like
thing.
you're making a pizza cafe called Pizza for Fat People. Like it
But it's like if
makes
you're a comedian and your handle's funny comedian. I mean, that's pretty ridiculous, and that's pretty much what I have. I pretty much have at funny comedian,
yeah, but you
you
are
know?
one of the only people in your field, so
That's
it's
not I mean,
radically
that's
different.
not true, so I have to give credit to first guy that I noticed that did comedian art was a guy named Joe Carg, so I have to give him credit, for kind of thinking like, "Oh, okay, this might be something," even though I really didn't think about it until, I got work from that Joe thing.
Yeah.
But he's been doing it for a while. He doesn't do it too much anymore. Um,
After you
but he
slashed his
was,
tires,
we
showed him
joked
what's
about it. I
up.
mean, I've never met him, but we talk about it a little bit that I've kind of taken his clients from him a little bit. But he, I'm sure could agree that he's kind of, abandoned that a little bit doing the comedian art stuff. And
Yeah,
I swoop in with the brand name.
yeah,
I mean,
dude.
like
I'm
how
sorry.
can you go with it? I'm the brand name,
I mean,
I
like,
obviously saying that ironically.
I
I
think
feel silly that that's what I'm
there's
known as, but
there's so few of you doing that. I don't mind. Like, if Charlie Chaplin had a Twitter handle, it'd be like Charlie Chaplin funny, and you'd be like, oh yeah, it's that man who does amusing things in the pictures that move now. I really don't know
And
comedy
and
beyond
I will
60.
only introduce myself as comedy artwork if I don't think you'll just laugh at me, because I'm only gonna say that out loud unless doesn't mean something to you.
Yes.
Like, I was running to the DC Improv to go talk to a comedian, and so I know the, booker there, and so I said, "Can I see Antoine?" You know? He's like, "Yeah, who may I ask is asking for him?" And he doesn't know me by anything other than comedy
Mhm.
artwork. And I was like, "Just get him. Just get him. He'll know who I am when he sees me," because I didn't wanna say, "I'm comedy artwork,"
There's
or
nothing.
"I'm Brian," even Brian from comedy artwork. It sounds
Why?
dumb.
You're not
I
like a
don't
porn
know.
star named Dripping Hole
It
Debbie, dude.
just
It's
it
it's
it
fine.
just I don't know. It just feels stupid, but, um,
I just introduce
so I
yourself
would
then as the comedy artwork guy.
I
Like
do that.
when
I usually say the comedy artwork douche. I'm that comedy artwork douche.
you can drop the last part. Like when people
Or
ask me at the
Brian from
front
comedy
desk, I
artwork,
just say
yeah.
I'm the locksmith. I don't say,
Yeah.
John Papa Giorgio XYZ. I'm like, just tell them the person that's
I
going to
mean,
get them in their office is here.
exactly. So, but I'll say it
I don't
obviously.
add the douche modifier though. You don't have to. I don't think it's a self-deprecation worthy name at all. For God's
It
sake, I
just
have a
feels a
show
little
called
silly.
Papa's
But I
Basement.
get it. People, that's what they know me as. That was what I kind of wanted. Because I was like, oh, I'll just be this thing. I won't be me. I'll just be this thing.
Like Batman being a
Yeah,
symbol.
exactly. Because I don't want to be me. I don't even want to be like on my posts. And I've slowly, said, okay, I am a person, because it makes it easier if I'm meeting someone that they know what I look like. So I'll put
Yeah,
a
and
picture of
also
me
you
every once in
don't
a while.
do again.
But I don't want to be out there,
I
visually. I
understand
just
your
like, yeah.
urge to kind of split your actual day job, which is still in the visual arts, from what you do with the comedy stuff. But again, you don't do anything like embarrassing or some
I'm
crap.
just
Like
very
you're not
yeah, I'm just yeah, I don't
attached to some sort of like radical right wing comedic element that like I don't see you crapping out Proud Boys posters. I think
No, no,
you're
no, no.
okay. Yeah.
No,
So
no, I've stayed away from any of that kind of stuff, yeah.
yeah, like you're comedian. For God's sakes, how did you like? What was sort of the hierarchy, the progression? Because I don't want to spoil like kind of the end of the story or getting towards it, but at this point you're doing sustained work for Judd Apatow, like a lot of his live events, which is
Mhm.
really cool because I had you doing artwork for me a couple of weeks ago. You're like, yes, I'll put down what I'm doing for Judd Apatow, get to your stupid top 10 list. And we both laughed, and then you actually did that. And then you're like, here's the crap you needed 5 minutes later. So thank you for that. And
Sure.
thank you for knowing your bread is buttered. It's all around Papa's basement. What can Judd do for you other than everything? So
Yeah, I just, kinda did stuff for people that I liked, so that Joe List poster got a big pop. The next thing that got a big pop was, like, a Dan Soder thing I did
and
with
you're
him, like, talking to Andre the Giant, like, face to face Andre the Giant,
yeah,
and
you're
again, he was gonna be at the big hunt again. So that was the second thing that kinda got a little bit of pop, within a few months of that initial one. And then I was taking whatever work came from whoever, but then I would also just work on my own for people that I liked. Say, "Hey," sometimes I would just surprise them with one, not even a surprise, but, say, "Here's something I did for you. I'm gonna come see you." That's what I did for Soder, basically. It's like, "Here, I did this for you. I'm gonna see you." I didn't really, I just would tag them, just tag them on Twitter, and then they say, "Oh, this is really great," and retweet it. And then they eventually hire you for real later. That's been pretty much my MO on that. Just do work for people that you like kind of on your own, and then they'll eventually come around you in an official basis.
No, it's a brilliant tactic. It's a great niche. I can think of so little else that is as shareable as something graphic like that. Like you could be baking these dudes cookies.
I always think about this, like, why didn't I do this earlier? And I think it wouldn't have worked that much earlier because it's all working because of Instagram, really.
Yeah, people
Because
are
yeah, I
able
could
to
have done
share
them,
that.
and I could have really been in the community and said, "Hey, you need a poster? I do you," and I would literally put them up on the side of the
And yeah, it
in
would
DC.
be like total word of mouth, comedian to comedian though.
Yeah,
Like this guy did my stuff.
but it got so big so quick, just because of social media. And I always think, man, I wish I had started this earlier. It'd been really cool. but it really couldn't have happened that much earlier because
No,
Instagram is just like a thing now.
maybe like
And
4 or
so,
5 years at
yeah, it,
most.
but it's not like, and I always feel like, I'm really late to the game in this. That, like I said, I could have been doing this, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it's still a lot of fun.
Either way,
Most of it,
man,
yeah.
you wouldn't have been friends with Mitch Hedberg. I'm just putting that out there. Greg Giraldo, maybe.
Gosh, imagine that. How old was I back then? I have to think about this.
I mean, Patrice is like 6 years, man. It's incredible. Like, so Giraldo's after Patrice, but I mean, Patrice it's like a lifetime
Gosh,
ago.
imagine that if I had this. But
Oh
again, it
God,
wouldn't have spread like that because, I mean, yeah, it could have worked if I was in New York and I was doing this, word of mouth without like
no, that's the
social
beauty
media.
of this. You're in
But
you're in Stafford,
yeah,
Virginia,
you can work for whoever, wherever.
and you're able to make these connections. So,
Yeah.
um, who like because I have gone to multiple comedy shows with you now. You're one
Hmm.
of the few people that actually.
I run away from you usually at the end. Like I go
Oh,
talk
it's
to these guys.
great. I don't blame you.
Yeah. I'm like, I like going with people and I don't like going with people.
Oh, I don't mind that you leave me in
You
the
know,
dust
I'm just
whatsoever.
like, listen, I gotta go talk to these guys, or I run into someone who I just did
No,
something for, and I
it's
feel like I'm gonna eventually just like leave you, and I'm not doing it on purpose. But
no, it's honest to God. If you ever do see a show with Brian, it's like I'm going to use a mid '90s porn reference because that's all I've got. It's like if you saw, I think it was Jill Kelly and Janine Lindemuller did a touring stripping thing. It would be like if you guys went out to see that, and then you're like, oh, they're actually like close family friends. So I'm gonna go backstage and bang them. You have a soda pop. And like that's like he will see the show with you, and then it's like, cool, I'm gonna talk to my actual friend, Bob Kelly, for a while. You can stick
yeah,
around and watch like a cuckold of some sort. And I gleefully do because it's just, yeah, it's fun. You're never a complete piece of crap about it. You're just like, look, I have this connection, you don't. I'm if I can bring you along, that's good. If I can't, do understand. And it's yeah, I even other comedians, other people in their world are going to get some sort of like, it's a friendly ball busting, but it's still ball busting. Like comedians love to clown on other comedians,
yeah,
but because you're not coming from this comedian angle, they're just
yes,
uniformly incredibly nice and respectful to you, and but
yes.
still talking shop.
And I'm not. I joke that eventually I'm gonna tell everybody that I'm a comedian. I'm just trying to get work. This has been just a big ruse.
That'd be great. You would get pity 5 minutes the
But
country
I'm
over.
not. That's the good thing is I don't. Not to name drop, but I was DMing with Patton Oswalt after I like kind of pitched to him after I saw him
Nice.
at his little secret show. I was like, I'm
Nice.
gonna give him a card because he's the first guy that I knew that would do posters like that, comedy wise.
Yeah, I guess he got that from San Francisco, like back in the day
Yeah.
when he was, yeah.
So he was the guy that like, oh, he would totally use me. I thought, even when I started this, yeah, he would totally use me, but I'd never really be able to connect with him. And then I went to his show at the Big Hunt that Sean from DC Underground invited me to, and I was like, well, I'll at least give him my card there. So I talked to him real quick, said, hey, yeah, my spiel. I gave him my card, and he's like, yeah, sure. And then
That was the saddest sigh right before that last couple of words, by the way. Like you really like
well, I
I feel
just
like a guy, like the child of someone you served with, and you're telling me about the night he died.
well, I feel stupid because but I knew I wasn't gonna have a chance to really get in touch with them ever again. So I don't usually give cards to people unless I think I can't ever get a hold of you again. You know.
There's
So
nothing weird about giving a card, man.
I know
Like
I
this
just
is
you don't want to feel like the guy giving out cards, and I don't want to be that guy either. But I knew I wouldn't see him again, so I gave him a card. I think he followed me back on Twitter. I think I bragged to him a little bit about Judd Apatow stuff to kind of let him know that I'm sort of for real. And he was doing the Kennedy Center that Saturday. I think it was Saturday. And I said, "Hey, I'm also a comedian. Do you think I can get some time this Saturday?"
Jesus Christ.
And I immediately said, dot dot dot, joking, joking. I'm not a comedian. I
Yeah.
promise. And his response was like, "Phew,"
Yeah. Sweet relief because yeah, he was
because I
probably
was
waiting for that
like,
shoe to drop.
because I feel like that's why when he, no one was bothering him at the Big Hunt. He was just there, and I feel like comedians don't bother him because they don't want to feel like they're trying to get in with them and get
Well,
time and,
what do you think's gonna
you know
happen as a comedian? Like, "Hey, you've never heard of me. I guarantee you I'm funny. When can I work with you?"
exactly.
It's
So I think me's different because I'm just coming from a different angle.
you provide
Here's
a
what I
different
can do for you.
service.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, he was nice and everything. And yeah, we emailed a little bit, but nothing's come up yet.
No,
So I'm
your
not worried about it.
services are this unique combination of, like, useful and completely harmless. Like I was saying before, it's not like you're giving these people a plate of brownies that might be laced with something.
Yeah.
It's what you do is shareable, unlike, say, a hand job under a table or something like that. You have all these unique vectors coming together where it's this perfect storm. I can honestly think of little else that you could make that's as share like what? Like costume jewelry of some sort, like a weird necklace
Yeah.
of the like I can see you doing that with your current designs from posters. Like, oh, here's my Soder Easter Island head thing,
Oh,
and this is now a necklace.
I never thought like a actual statue. Oh man.
Yeah, like actual statues, pendants, junk like
That
that.
I don't know. There's gotta be a place that can do that.
Yeah, I mean, I
I know they
there's
have like those crystal ones where it's like a box, like a square crystal, and then within it there's like a 3D
oh, like a
head
laser
or something.
etching or something like that.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
That might be doable. I don't know who would actually buy that, but that'd be really neat.
I mean,
Yeah.
you're selling out of all the magnets you're
Wow.
producing. But
It's
yeah,
so you
yours
can always
because you're not even making a physical good at first is just like an image file. It's really incredible to see what you've done with it, man. I mean, honestly, the only other friend I have who's enjoyed that kind of success is a buddy of mine who makes these creepy Tim Burton ass looking dolls
Mm.
that have been put in displays like the world over, and
Uh-huh.
like she'll do 5 of them, and people are like, "I'll give you
Oh,
$2,000 for your
wow.
devil doll," you know. And
Jeez.
it's that is the only there's something about the visual element that just it requires no thought. You can just look at something and be like, "I like this," and it kind of bridges class and it bridges language and all that. So there's something to be said for working in a visual medium, dude. So
Okay.
good on you. I'm just saying, like,
Alright. I don't ever think that deep, but yeah, I get
no, there's just
it.
something there's so primal, like an image. Like that's
Yeah, sure.
what you're saying about Instagram.
But
Like
you know what? You know what's ironic?
I'm with
Pictures of not my art usually statistically do better on my Instagram than pictures of my art.
maybe because
Why
people
is that?
have I pe-
And another thing, when you think of like magazine covers, back in the day, Time magazine, illustration, illustration, illustration. Obviously, it was because you know photos were a little different back then. But now it's all photos because, like it or not, people are going to react, or the majority of people are going to react more to a photo than a drawing. Not that I don't think the drawings are cooler, and some other people do too, but if you statistically put out there, a picture and then a drawing, people are most likely going to hit the picture.
well, the picture is a
You
human
know,
element where you're simply drawn to it on, I guess, a visceral level, like
hmm
identifying a fellow human being or whatever the
yeah,
hell,
I
something
think it's just
living. But
instinctive that
I do think photos have become so cheapened. Like, what is the if I forget what the statistic is, but in terms of the number of photos taken throughout history, it's like
oh
what, like
yeah, sure,
95% have
yeah,
been taken since like 2012. Like once the iPhone
crazy,
got big,
yeah,
yeah, it's just so they're not what they used to be, where you have
yeah,
to go and people like, doesn't it blow your mind that even 15 years ago, you didn't have the capability to take like a remotely pro grade looking photo? Like every piece of crap
yeah,
was
sure,
just on some like Kodak device and it looked low res and the lighting sucked.
hmm
And then you had to go to like a CVS to get it printed out.
yeah.
And that just isn't the case anymore. You're making incredibly high end stuff. Just like, what is your home device even for that? Just some
It's called
desktop computer.
the high end version of what I have is called a Cintiq, but I don't have a Cintiq because those are like 4 or 5 grand.
Mhm.
I've got something called the Yenova, or I think it's the yeah, Yenova, and it's a knockoff version that works great.
You mean a Jimena. Get it right.
Yeah, Jimena, the Jimena.
Ricky. Uh,
So you have a knockoff version of like, so I draw right on the monitor, and that's part of the reason why I can do this, because if I was working traditionally, I mean, none of this would be worth my time, to be honest, because it's so quick digitally now. I
oh
can
yeah,
just do something. I can bang it out really quick. It might be great, it might not, but I can get it done pretty quickly.
You've hit that familiarity and skill level with what you do where
Well, I think
and
with
it
the comedy
feels
stuff, I'm really just kind of having fun playing around.
like you said, these are all
Uh,
people you're fans of.
Sometimes it's like, we wanna do this, or sometimes I'm just like, I'll do my thing, but for the most part, I'm just trying to have fun with it.
I mean, what do you when you're approaching something like that, like I've seen your work with Soder again, I'll reference that,
Mhm.
and his is a lot more that I'll see is like kind of referential, where there's one as him, he's like the xenomorph from Aliens. There's the
Yeah.
Easter Island thing. Like, what is it? Was that his input, or you came up with that kind of
Uh,
twist?
Half and half, well, yeah, half and half. So I did the Andre and him one just on my own before he even knew who I was. Then he came to me to do the alien head one, and that's his thing because that's what he would get called. He'd get called Alien Head because he has such a big head.
I
So that
don't
was his
find it
idea.
that shockingly big. Like, because of you, I've seen the guy in the flesh up close, and I wasn't really struck by a large head, but
Yeah,
okay.
well, I don't know. I mean, that's just always been
Yeah, yeah. Ride it.
his
What the hell?
thing. Um, and then I came up with the Easter Island one, which I was particularly proud of. I just liked the idea, and
That's brilliant.
thought it was executed pretty well. And then he came up with the Soder Popinski one. He's like, "I
That
want
was
Soder
sharp too.
Popinski." I said, "Oh, okay, cool.
We
I
actually
think I know what to do with this."
I stole from you a bit
Yeah, I saw
on that.
that,
Yeah, like
well, he didn't steal from me. I mean, jeez. I
no,
stole from
but yeah,
Nintendo.
I think a week ago or so, Brian Bolte did a very deserved or undeserved AMA with me,
Mhm.
and somehow we came up with. I was talking about if he ever got into a fight with our former co-host
Mhm.
Travis, like to aim for the bandages on his stomach, and I was like, "You'll only have to knock him dead." Just a 30-second reference to King Hippo,
Yeah,
and
sure.
I guess yeah, he gave it to some artist friend of his, Torelli or Steve Torelli or
He's like a
something.
Compound Media guy. I
Okay,
don't know
yeah.
if he's officially affiliated or just sort of doing stuff because he's a fan,
And he
but he
whipped up
does all that,
something
yeah.
that
Mhm.
kind of, showed that borne out with, Brian as Little Mac,
Yeah, I
and
saw
I
that,
made a
yeah.
decent referee Mario, if I do say so myself.
Yeah,
So
so it's a mix. Sometimes it's like a very specific idea. Sometimes it's like do your thing. Like with Ryan Shutt, who is a New York guy, but he's from the area. He's like a just do your thing kind of guy. So do something. Okay. I'm coming back to DC. It's my birthday weekend. Do something. And so I was like, okay, let me do something metro
that
driven.
was amazing. Is that the dude who had the Metro map?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
for the face.
the first idea was like, okay, I'll have him on a metro looking kind of depressed or something. I don't know.
Guys, look him up. I should have said this a lot earlier. You're at Comedy Artwork on both
Yeah,
Twitter
that's
and
it.
Instagram.
That's
That
it.
poster specifically, like I crapped myself looking at that. I was like, that is such a brilliant concept.
So that was one where it was just me kind of spinning my wheels, and I was like, "That's boring. I don't wanna draw just him sitting on a metro. What can I do?" And I typed in, "Has anyone done this?" I typed in, Washington DC Metro map face. I didn't see anything. Sorry, not that I always, like, look up my ideas because sometimes I don't wanna know if someone's done it, but,
Yeah, no harm, no
I
foul,
was
dude.
like, "I wonder if this has been done before." I mean, maybe it has, I just haven't come across it. Like, "Oh, this would be cool," and I'll try to make it legit. It's really not legit because the metro's going at, like, you know, I'm being obviously a little too anal on it. It's going at, like, sharp 90-degree turns if you really look at it. So if I really,
Just like our real
yeah,
Metro.
if I really wanted to make it a perfect representation, it would have all curved,
Mhm.
corners, but I didn't,
I
and
like your Metro where
yeah, it looks
thousands die a day.
exactly. It's like the whipping around. It's like
Yeah.
a roller coaster. So it looks cooler that way too. Um, and I was like, "Oh, this will be great." I don't usually think that. Most times I think, "Oh, they're gonna hate it." No matter who it is, I think they're gonna hate it. They're gonna think I just didn't spend enough time on it, that I rushed it, or that the idea isn't good. And I just always assume when I send something to somebody, they're gonna be like, "Yeah, I don't like it."
No, dude, as a guy who
Yeah,
doesn't really know how you do this stuff, I'm not gonna say it's like sorcery. Like I get it. Like things like Photoshop exist. I'm not
yeah,
stupid, but there's a magical quality to you just being like, here are some images. I made them. And
yeah.
I don't know how it's done. Like if you made photographs, I know you're saying that photos do better than drawings, but like I can make a photo. It's not gonna be a great
Mm.
one, and
Well,
I'm
I just
not.
mean instinctively people, I think, are gonna more likely react to a photo than any kind of art.
I guess just because it's slightly more relatable as real life.
I mean, I
I
guess
don't know.
because I mean, not now, of course, but, back in the day, anyone would draw a picture, even though it wasn't very good, but you weren't always just seeing photographs all the time. But I guess, obviously, now that's changing, so I don't know. But, yeah, the Metro one did really well, like, as far as people thinking it was cool, which is how, I I I use my metric as, whether people think it are cool or not. Um, and that one just came out of me just kinda figuring something out.
Who's your You've got, and I'm gonna let you like put it on the table in a second and just brag about all of your biggest clients if you wish. You don't have to. Who's left that you haven't worked with that you really really want to? Like I know you're really happy of Patton that you're working with Judd Apatow. You
The
always
patent's not official yet, but,
yeah.
the seeds are
Judd is. You say that and I wipe my hand.
there.
um, Judd, you've done a lot with, and I know you said he's really cool and fun to work with. So who's left that you're like, I want this to happen?
I don't know because I can say, the big guys like Rock or whoever, but, you at that level, you don't need to do this kind of stuff. I mean, no one needs to do it, I guess, really, but I just don't know if Chris Rock's ever gonna be like, "Yeah, I want a poster," I know Gaffigan kinda leans towards that kinda stuff. So, yeah, Gaffigan would be nice just because, um, I like him, obviously, and he was probably one of the earlier stand-ups that I could name when I was a kid.
Hot
Um,
Pockets was big, man.
yeah, I mean, Regan I love too, of course, and I did something for him on my own just to see if it would turn into anything. I don't think it did. But, I did something for him just because I wanted to do something for him and see if, he'd be interested in maybe making an official one, but it's not, and that's fine. Yeah, I don't really, I don't really have a anyone I'm eyeing per se, so
You know what? I'm gonna say this right now.
yeah.
You jump out of comedy. You start just attacking
I th
everything you can get your hands on.
Believe me, I've thought about it, but you know what the first step in that is, right?
What is this?
Changing my stupid name.
Comedy art. That's
I
true.
mean, even though people come to me with non-comedy stuff, obviously, because, yeah, it's still design, but it's a slight barrier that someone that may not even realize it's a barrier says, "Okay, he just does stuff for comedians." Even though most rational people are gonna say, "Well, he can do it for whoever." I always wanted to do stuff for bands, and I did try a little bit.
Oh, as I was gonna say, like just kind of B-list starlets or something like that.
Oh,
But what
no.
events do they?
Yeah, that's no fun. I need
Bands. Look
really
at
nerdy
you.
stuff to
God, I
do.
need you managing me or something. Like
I
I'm
mean,
just
I tried to do bands, and I've actually done a few, not through this thing. I've done a thing for Snoop Dogg. I mean, it
that's
wasn't through him, it was through the festival he was doing.
doesn't matter.
It's a pretty good poster, I like it. And, another one for that same festival that had, like, the Avett Brothers on it and, like, the Descendants and, of course, Snoop Dogg again. I did that probably, like, 5 or 6 years ago, so that was really cool. And then a few smaller bands. But I could never really keep it going. I don't know if it's just through marketing. And even since the comedy stuff, I have tried to do kind of like some test
I just
brands with
think of
like
people that are very personally involved with their own promotion, I guess, and that's
yeah, I don't know what I would go to next, but I mean, I would obviously not turn down any band stuff. I did get approached one time for Bob what's his name? Bob from the Husker Du. What's his name? Bob.
oh
I'm gonna
crap.
say his last name wrong. I'm gonna say it, mess it up. But the guy
Bob
from
Do.
Bob Mold. I'm gonna say it wrong.
Was it like Muller?
Mould. From Husker Du a long
Okay.
time ago. So they approached me, but they approached me with this really janky idea. They were just like, I mean, maybe this is normal. I don't
Oh
know.
man.
I
Oh
don't.
man. Beefing with the do. You heard it
No,
here
no,
first.
I don't do.
War with the do.
I don't
No.
do rock posters, so maybe
Okay.
this is normal. But they were just like, okay, we don't pay you, but you can sell them,
Okay.
but we won't pay for printing. So I have to then
That's a lot up
screen
front.
screen print my own posters, and then it's relied on me to then promote that I have these posters for
That's
sale
a lot.
and
Yeah.
that people would buy them and I would make any kind of money from it.
That's a considerable change from what you're doing right now,
Yeah, so I
where
would say that's a minimum a few hundred out of my pocket before I even know that I'm gonna get it back.
yeah.
And I was just like, I want to do this, but if this is how the rock poster business is like, I don't want to do this, you know. It was for something you had at the 930 Club. So I don't know. I think I'm pretty happy with doing what I'm doing, but I do think, okay, should I try to make this not so specific, just by something
Hell, make a
simple?
second account, dude.
Oh, I've done it and they haven't quite taken off.
Oh,
So,
okay.
um,
So that
but
was
I
you,
don't I didn't,
porno artwork, Brian.
but I didn't have but my heart wasn't in it either.
That's true. Comedy is
Um,
your baby.
that's definitely more um of what I've
I
liked, and for
mean,
the most part, I've had pretty good relationships with these guys, and I have a feeling some of the band stuff might be a little more of a pain because there's multiple peoples in band.
I was just gonna say, yeah.
Multiple peoples. That sounded really stupid. Uh, the multiple peoples in band.
I like
So I
the
have a feeling
uptalk
they
too.
might be more of a pain. I haven't had too many, problems with working for comedians. It's even if I don't get it right the first time, they're all usually very cool. And for the most part, usually pretty happy with what I do. But I have a feeling it'll be a different story with bands. So maybe I'm better off.
Well, you heard it here, people. Musicians are assholes. Comedians are nice. And Brian, thank you for coming in, man. Is there
Sure.
anything you wanted to mention before we call today and
No,
go
no,
and
my voice is almost gone, which
yes.
is really embarrassing.
No, it's fine, man. Your first time out.
My water's gone.
It takes a while to get.
So
I don't know. I wouldn't call them throat calluses. I don't know what happens, but yeah, the times where because I'm usually used to an hour long, 90 minutes of show. So even the times where it's
yeah.
like two and a half solid hours, like the next day, I'm like, what happened? And then it's on me to
I don't talk this much normally.
yeah. You
So
talk with your pictures, sir.
you're gonna yeah, exactly. Yeah. And um that's where it comes from, I think. Like I don't really care if people like me. I just like that they like my pictures. I think that comes from, my basically my family relationships where I would just show them stuff. They go, "That's good, Brian," and that was like it. That was like all I needed. So
That was your
I'm just
validation.
doing that throughout.
You're taking that to the nth degree.
Yeah. So
I want you to do that. Just walk up something drawn on like 3-hole punch notebook paper. Walk up to
you
a
know what I
comedian
would
like,
do
I
to my
did this for
mom?
you. What?
I would test her. I would make the worst crap out of Legos, and I would ask her if she liked it, and she'd say, "Yeah, it's great. I love it."
and you scream, liar.
And I was like, "Oh crap!" She's saying this to everything. Yeah.
That's amazing. I never wanted to rock that boat. Like I just wanted to feel like a genius. Like so everything I put out there was always my quote unquote best. But I know exactly how you feel when there's someone who'll just retweet anything you put out there. Like, come on, dog.
Yeah.
This wasn't a good episode. Why are you saying that? Like not this in particular. You know what I'm saying? Just well, Brian, thanks, man. I hope that you want to do this again. I had fun. I hope that we can do some stand up as well soon. I think we're eyeballing Luis J. Gomez. He's in town. When is that? Like mid-November, something like that.
Yeah, November 17th, I think.
So that'll be fun. I'm gonna start playing the outro music. Kick in. It's taking its time. There you go. Only a 3-second lag on my Commodore 64 that I run the show off of. Everyone, this was Papa's Basement. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed Comedy Artwork. Brian over there again at Comedy Artwork on Instagram and on Twitter. You can see all of his work. I follow him on both of those. He follows me on both of those. So just go through our friend lists and you can find out who's who. I'm John Papa Giorgio at Papa's Basement on Twitter and Instagram. You can find the show on iTunes. You can find it on Stitcher. There's an actual, if you're an Android person, there's a legit app that I think Pete maybe paid to have made.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like I think he shelled out $100 or something and just have an episode that will, or an app that'll give you every episode we've done. I truly don't know what the hell is the purpose of that, but hey, it works for me. Facebook.com/Papa's Basement, all that stuff. Just, follow, stalk, whatever the hell. Email us, share the episode. It was a good one. I think, I don't know, man. I've always wondered a lot of like how you got into this specifically. So this was a lot easier than trying to drag it out of you like during a comedy show when, again, you're like, hey, I'll be back. Bob Kelly wants to smoke a cigar with me. All right, till the next one. We are out of here.
We're home free. School's out, baby.
Good show?
Nothing to talk about, nothing to critique. Great show, great guests tomorrow. You go home, have a glass of wine, whack off. I'll see you tomorrow.
That's the post-show critique?
Yeah, you're the best.
It's my time to go. I successfully burned all my bridges. Nobody loves me, and I don't love nobody.
Then he said penis.
Yeah. Then he said masturbation.
Then he said vagina. That was cool.
Had a mighty hard time, but I'm on my way. Had a mighty hard time, but I'm on my way. It's a mighty hard climb, but I'm on my way. On my way, glory, hallelujah, I'm on my way.